Firstly, I just want to ask. I mean, obviously you've fought AJ before, so there's built-in history there. But it does seem like maybe this one's got a bit personal. I know obviously there's promotion, but because you have fought each other, there's always that element. Do you feel like the fight this time around with AJ is personal and maybe more personal than other fights you've had?
Definitely, because we know of each other now. I think that when we had the first fight, it was just someone else um, in the influencer scene and anyone to take on that fight. Because whereas now, like she's champ, I've already beat her. It's her opportunity for redemption. It's my opportunity to win the belt. Um, yeah, that's the story. There's nothing more than that. And the fact that we really aren't that fond of each other. So it's a great ingredient to a great boxing fight.
Sure. Is like you say that you're not you two aren't necessarily fond of each other. Is that because she's just not your type of person, or is it more so a competitive um, side between you?
She's just rude. Like she's rude. She's going after my job. She's making up some like lies. She's just trying to make me look bad. So why would I not defend myself in order for that? Like obviously it's personal and I want to win again because that's what I'm made to do. That's what I'm built to do.
Yeah, sure. A lot has changed since the first fight because you were both fairly new to the sport, and at the time, I guess it was just sort of like you were almost two celebrities that they sort of chucked in there, and you sort of had to figure it out. But since then, you've obviously both taken training very seriously. You both fought fairly regularly. How much has your life sort of changed in that sort of 2 year period since you first fought?
Yeah, I mean, I was an absolutely like I've said this before, but I was a party girl. I was a really bad party girl. Any substance I could find, I was putting up my nose. Like I was taking it to the max. Whereas now, I don't drink. Like to be fair, I had like 18 months sober and or like a year. And now it's just I live a boring life. I don't go out in the weekends because I'm too focused on my eating and my training habits. My circle's got a lot smaller. I don't see the friends that I did once before because I'm just not in that lifestyle of partying and going out anymore. And I'm always having to watch what I eat. So yeah, my life's got so boring. I'm married to my house. I want to see I'm in these like four walls constantly. It's just work, work, work for me.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because like a lot of people will somewhat comes a bit of a cliche where they say like, "Oh, boxing saved my life" or "It's changed my life," but sometimes there are genuine instances where it does do that. Do you feel like maybe that's what happened with you as well?
Yeah, I think in terms of health and fitness, 100%. Like it's just two polar opposites, isn't it? Really, like going out every weekend, going to the pub, going clubbing, sniffing tons of cocaine, get them in anything you can find, narcotics, to the other side of watching what you put in your body, dieting, health and exercise, regular routine. I think that is probably routine is my favorite thing about boxing because it gives me a reason to wake up in the morning. It gives me structures to my day. Yeah, it gives me a reason to be right now. I think that is the main reason just for me simply existing.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's quite brave for you to also open up and talk about the lifestyle you were living beforehand. Do you think that without boxing, that would have changed, or is boxing sort of the sole reason? And did you kind of need that to change in your life, and boxing came at the right time?
Yeah, I think I would 100% be still living the same lifestyle. Perhaps maybe not as crazy because I've aged, 18 months. Um, I'm not in my early 20s anymore, but no, I 100% would have still been going out, going to like Ibiza, stuff like that. I've had to cancel so many holidays and that kind of thing. So, um, yeah, it was like a complete 180, really.
Yeah, and the physical like changes of being a fighter and whatnot are there, but the mental side people probably don't see or understand. So like your mental health, how much has that improved since you've sort of gone sober and focused on the sport?
Yeah, 100, like especially with the routine as well, because I was taking like antidepressants. I was on like sertraline before I started boxing. So I was like relying on a pill every day just to make me happy. So I didn't like have like fucking dark suicidal thoughts. Whereas now I have the good days and I have those bad days, but they're more about training and what I'm focusing on. So yeah, it really has changed my life. Like from being a depressed, like I don't want to say drug addict because I wasn't a drug addict, but party animal to like where I am now. It's a journey.
Yeah, well, good on you for changing that. Another question I wanted to ask: a lot of women athletes suffer with sort of like I guess trolls, and then also celebrities like yourself suffer as well. So, and you're actually in the middle of being both a fighter now and a celebrity. So, how is it that you deal with trolls? Is it something that you get used to with age, or is it something that specifically helped you? And how do you cope with it even now?
I think having trolls has definitely made me develop thick skin. So I think that is like the most important thing. But I try not to read them, but obviously I'm only human. I tend to wonder because you want to see the good comments, but there's going to be bad ones as well. But honestly, I just try to block it out. And I think that if anything, trolls have helped me develop like thick skin and low key confidence because you've got to try and not let them get to you.
Yeah, sure. There's been a big debate within sort of like influencer boxing. A lot of guys and girls have been accused of maybe putting the sport first and not so much their content, which kind of got them there. How, do you feel? I mean, you're obviously quite active on social media. Has your content taken a knock since you started boxing? How have you sort of juggled the two?
My content has not taken a knock. If anything, I've actually worked harder since I've started boxing because it's given me more direction on myself, on my brand, and where I want to be and who I want to be. If you can't do both, I don't think that you genuinely belong in the space because if you want to be a boxer, then go the traditional route that everyone else does and through the ranks and start off small and not have to promote. Like perhaps they have to sell some tickets, but you could get signed by a promoter or that kind of thing. Whereas to be in the influencer space, you need to be an influencer and you need to be doing things that are normalized in the space that create views.
Sure. I know you've done a lot of work with Ebony, both in the gym and sort of on your socials as well. But I know she's obviously with Dave Coldwell now. Are you still using Ebony for training and sparring, or is it more so just a case of sort of like her being there as a bit of a mentor that you can ask for tips and advice for?
Yeah, 100%. She's still my mentor. I don't see her very often. Obviously, she was training for her fight, and she's up north now, so we're like separated. If she was around the corner, we would see each other all the time. But yeah, it's kind of we're still such good friends. We're like sisters, but less involved with the boxing now. But she's always there for me mentally. She's honestly the biggest and the best hype woman in the world. So I can always go to her for advice.
Sure. And sometimes they say there's no friends in the boxing business, but there are rare occasions where there are, and it feels like you and Ebony do have a very good bond and a friendship. Do you feel like the sport has sort of got you a best friend in Ebony?
Yeah, 100%. If it wasn't from boxing, then I would have never have met her. Like I would have never have moved to Essex. I would have never met Ebony. Would have never have met. There's even the boys in that gym. They're because I don't go out on weekends and do other things. They're the ones that I see and I rely on as like company a lot of the time. So my life just revolves around boxing now. It's actually crazy.
Yeah. And at one point, the big narrative around you was the Astrid Wet fight. It was always spoken about. It seems to have gone off the ball a little bit now. You've obviously got other opponents, so does she. But is that still a fight that you think is the biggest one for you and one that can happen?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest one for me. If it's not Astrid, then it's perhaps a Julie rematch because everyone would want to see a kind of redemption. But for me, Astrid does numbers like that. You could absolutely sell. Everyone would be watching that. That's the fight that everyone wants to see. But she does not want to take that fight. So I've got my hands tied, putting the pressure on Misfits. She knows I'll fight her. Everyone else knows I'll fight her, but that's on her.
Right. And is that probably the most personal and the one with the most history? Because that's obviously what you were meant to fight her in maybe your first or second fight. You've obviously both come on a lot there. Is that one that you wanna have just obviously big numbers, but also because there's so much going on that you just have to finally settle?
Yeah, I think, and we're both such similar creators. Like, obviously, with the football, the branding, blonde, TikTok, there's the history that we've always had the back and forth. The fact that our first fight never did happen. It just makes the most sense, and we have such staples in kind of TikTok, YouTube, or especially now influencer boxing culture, that that fight needs to happen, really.
And how does it happen? How do you two get this fight over the line?
Honestly, like if it's my opinion, I think it's the biggest mismatch ever. I think I'd annihilate her, but yeah, maybe I'll try and make it seem a bit more competitive.
Right. Okay. Perfect. Well, look, Elle, I've really enjoyed our chat, and I wish you all the best of luck. I'll see you in Leeds, and yeah, I wish you all the best of luck for the fight and going forward.
Thank you, Jack.